Bradshaw is all over Bale. Look at this. He goes wide through the whoops. Can he get there first? He does. Bradshaw takes over the lead.
And the chase for the line, and Joubert's right with him. It's a battle to the finish between Georges Joubert and Eric Gibord.
But Bale snatches second spot at the very final corner, pushing the Australian out, Jean-Michel Bale.
Today I'm releasing a video on the 1987-88 YZM500. In my opinion, and you guys can feel free to comment, it is probably one of the most, if not the most, interesting WORKS 500 ever created, right up there with the mid-80s RC 500s. Everything from the aluminum tank to the aluminum airbox to the all-aluminum chassis, first motocross bike to have an aluminum chassis, by the way, to the anodized forks. It was written in from 87 to 88, written by Jackie Vimon, the 1986 250 MXGP champion, and Leif Persson, the Swedish Sandmaster, and also by Kurt Lundqvist. All three did a great job. Give you a little bit of history. A Yamaha, since Jackie Vimon had a factory contract with Yamaha, they, after he won his 1986 250 world title, they asked him to ride the 500 class, and they were going to give him the YZM500 to ride in 87 and 88. And many of you know, if you followed Vimon's career, in a ceremony celebrating the 250 world title, they brought him out, and they were going to introduce him by lowering his 250 world title winning YZM 250 down from the rafters on cables with him on it. As that was happening, one of the cables snapped, and he fell about 15 to 20 feet on his back, broke his back. This was during the off season between 86 and 87. So he was out for the 87 season, rehabbing, and was able to come back for the final race of the 500 MXGP season in 1987, the Swiss 500 MXGP. And he didn't do too bad. I think he got a third or a fourth. But larger problems loomed physically with Vimon, and he was never the same rider again. Leif Persson picked up the slack. I don't think he was originally contracted to ride the YZM 500 with Jackie in 87, and so and I could be wrong, anybody correct me if you want to, but he ended up riding Vimon's bike throughout 87 and actually did really well. He took the YZM 500 to its first MotoGP, Moto MXGP win, also in Sweden, because he is the Sandmaster, winning I think the first or second moto, and he was fast on things, competitive. He was competitive in Holland, did great there, and like I said, in Sweden as well, and in a number of other places. He was a front runner, and so, and of course, Yamaha, because they sucked in the 80s, their head offices. By rewarding him, they let him go in 88. And so, in any event, Jackie Vimon came back, raced the full 88 season, gave it 2 heat wins and I think an MXGP win. Did really well in places like Sweden. Did really well also in Switzerland. Did really well in Italy. And he did really well. His final ride on the YZM 500 was at the Motocross of Nations, which was in France that year, if you remember Ronnie Lachine's phenomenal ride. Jackie Vimon also did really well in France, was neck and neck with the US, Team USA, all the way to the end because of him and because of JMB. Now, there have been some people out there that have said that it didn't handle well, but this bike was so rarely tested that the credibility of those folks, I take it with a grain of salt. What would have been awesome would have been if Yamaha would have had their act together and made a production version of this even just for 5 or 6 years. That way we could have seen, in the United States, we could have seen like Brock Glover, Jeff Stanton when he was with Honda, Doug Dubach, and even Damon Bradshaw, instead of riding that pig of a WR500. Don't get me wrong, I love the WR500 for other reasons, but imagine Damon Bradshaw on this sucker. Man, he would have been a front runner to win the title, 500 national title in 90 and 91. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's always a fun thing for me to do because I love this bike so much. I wish I could get my hands on it. I've done my own type of projects trying to recreate this bad boy at home. I have a YZ360, the Nolens Olens kit, but I still have ideas in my head of finding like a 1989 or 1990 YZ250 rolling chassis and stuffing a CR500 motor in there from like 87 to 88 because it doesn't have the low boy configuration, low boy pipe configuration. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. Us 500 two-stroke MX lovers, we tend to run in the same pack. So hey, share this with your friends. Give me some ideas. Let me know what you guys want to see. I am all about it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's one of the rare videos out there of the YZM500 in action, and Jackie Vimone does not disappoint. All right, back to the action. Thanks, guys. In this first heat, the two main players were Mark Banks and Jackie Vimone. I think Keith Vanderven was in there as well. But Mark Banks got the whole shot on what looked like a pretty stock 1988 CR500. And he was on it. Now this is a really interesting track. It's a sand track, but it almost looks like a flat track with some jumps mixed into it. So yeah, Mark Banks was one of those younger riders who, bigger guy, and he had a lot of potential, but I'm not really sure what happened to him. He kind of fell off the radar after a while, after like 91, 92. So Vimone makes his way from, I think, 4th all the way up to the rear wheel of Mark Banks. And another thing I like about this track is it's one of those high-speed tracks. It's perfect for 500s. And you can really twist the throttle. And there goes the pass. Great pass by Vimone. Took the inside line as Banks went wide, and Vimone was all by himself. And it looks like from that point, Vimone was never challenged in the rest of the 40-minute heat. Can you imagine riding a 500 for a 40-minute heat? When I turn laps on a 500 at my local tracks, especially the sand track that I go to frequently, which is actually has more jumps than this one, and it's pretty wide open as well. I'll turn about 10 or 12 laps when I'm fresh, and it will have felt like I'm out there for 20 to 25 minutes. But then I look down at my watch and it's like 16 minutes, and I am smoked. I actually feel like I'm in pretty decent shape, just because I recently retired for the military, and the unit that I was at, you had to be in good shape. But these guys were definitely the epitome of a professional athlete, and they definitely didn't get the credit they deserve for being in as great of shape as they were, and are even to this day. Now, because Håkan Karla is also from Sweden, toward the end of this race, he actually started to get a little close right there.
to Vimon. All right, now we have the second heat. Kees van der Ven gets the whole shot barely, and with Jackie Vimon on his rear tail, right up to him, and just rides that rear tail until he can find a good place to pass. Vimon won the 1986 250 MXGP Championship. There's the great pass right there. And won the 250 World MXGP Championship in 1986 with Yamaha. And that's why Yamaha chose him to ride the WORKS 500, the YZM500. They chose him not too long after he won the World 250 Championship. But when in France, when they were doing a tribute to his 250 world title, they had him show up to this ceremony, and they wanted to make it a big deal, so they went. They had him on his bike, and they lowered him down on cables from the ceiling, from the rafters, on stage to see if he would actually just to make it a big deal. And one of the cables snapped, and he fell, I think, like 15 feet. Fell on his back, broke his back, and missed the entire 87 season, with the exception of the last race in Switzerland. He actually did pretty good in that race, but he was never the same rider after. Here you have Dave Thorpe, who was on it in the second heat, and ends up passing Kees van der Ven without too much issue. Dave Thorpe was really moving. Now later on in this moto, something really confusing, maybe you guys can tell me, happened. But Dave Thorpe will soon pull up to the rear wheel of Vimon. And I don't know if Vimon was tiring or he just wasn't at the same level as Thorpe, but Thorpe passes him almost right here. Yep, there he goes. Takes the inside line around the corner. He is famous for that. Thorpe could take an inside line on a 500 like it was on rails. You think, oh man, if he takes that inside line on an off-camber turn, like he's gonna either spin out, lose the rear wheel, whatever. Okay, there's the sneaky little Gabors. Nobody sees him coming, and then he turns to the rear wheel of Thorpe, his teammate, pretty quickly. Now here's the confusing part. It'll come up in a couple of turns. So now he's on the rear wheel. Now, as you guys remember, this is only the third or fourth race of the season, but Gabors would end up winning the title this year. So right here, Thorpe, look at that, man. He had so much more. And takes the outside line into the inside and just passes him. And it's almost like Thorpe just kind of just let him go. I never understood that one. Maybe Thorpe ran out of gas? Or because once he passed Thorpe, like, he was gone. Thorpe didn't even challenge it. And that's very unlike him. Especially when he's racing his teammate. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, but there were some great battles between these two from 88 and 89, especially. 87, Gabors raced the 250 class. He raced the 500 class in 85 and 86, switched to the 250 class, and then raced the 500 class from 88 to 90, winning it in both 88 and 90, and becoming the first rider to ever win the MXGP in all three classes. And there he takes it.